Okay, good evening, Knicks Nation. Welcome to the next edition of Sky Hoops Knicks Dreams. To join the conversation, drop your comments in the chat room. In a few minutes, I will also drop the actual link for if you want to be a panelist in the chat room so that you can, chop it up with us. Of course, today we're going to talk about the Knicks against Dallas, the previous game that the Knicks played, and then of course tonight's game, the Knicks between the Pistons. With that being said, I'm going to drop the mic to my main man H2O so he could take it away and give us his take on what he thought about the Mavericks against the Knicks.
Good evening, family. And thank you for the opportunity, Santana. And thank you for the rebranding. It's very appropriate. Having said that, let's jump right in and talk about our the topic of discussion. Our team, our guys. Okay, let's talk about the best team in New York. Okay, sorry about that. And let's jump right in and give our perspective on what's going on in Nick Nation. Okay, the last game was good until it got bad. Okay, it was going good for about 3 quarters. They were still very much in it. I think it was 46 and 23 is 69 to 72 at the end of 3 quarters. 72 to 69 at the end of 3 quarters. And Randall had not shown up. And RJ had not shown up. And Bullock had not shown up. And we were still in this game somehow. Okay? Unfortunately, we have to play the fourth quarter. And in the last couple of games, they've given the game away in the last 4 quarters. They're still trying to figure out how to close these games that are there. I'm not going to use the word should or then, but they're there to be won. And they, in many cases, are winnable game if we just play. The problem is that we played a good first quarter and a terrible fourth quarter. It was the tale of two cities. We were living in the lap of riches in the first quarter, and we were down in living in the slums in the fourth quarter. And I can't get over that. We can't get over why is it that these guys do this to us. They keep me so at the edge of my seat for 3 quarters, okay? An hour and a half. And then the last 15 minutes, they drop the ball. Take it away, Santana.
Well, Bill Stradamus, you want to chime in?
Yeah. You're 100% right, H2O. But me, as I was saying prior to the broadcast, I was thoroughly upset at how Mr. Tibbs coached that game. Mr. Tibbs, with his stubborn coaching, didn't allow Obi-Wan to do his thing when it seemed like he was having a breakout game, and he basically cost us that W.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry about that. I got to the crib and my brother had all this noise going on, so that's why I had to mute myself.
No problem.
But
Go ahead.
Like I was saying, Tibbs basically did not see Barrett and Randall were first of games of their lives or of this season. And when he went in that quarter to Burks and Obi-Wan, they had it going. And then he inexplicably he just takes them out and took Obi out and then back into the fourth quarter. Burks, meanwhile, was in, with Rosen quickly. He left those guys in there too long. They were both.
You're chopping up, Bill. Bill, you're chopping.
I'm sorry.
Choppy.
All right, well, then let me pass the rock over to you then.
Okay.
And let me reposition myself.
All right.
Okay, I'll pass the rock to you.
Okay. So yeah, I think Bill and I were talking about before launching this broadcast. It's also about adjustments, and yeah, I understand Tibbs has a certain rotation, and yeah, of course, you want to have some type of consistency in that rotation, and that's okay. But you also have to have a sense of or feel of the game based on what's happening with the players. If they're not performing, go with the hot hand. It's only one game. You go with the hot hand, and then you could come back to these guys, either within the game or in the next game. And unfortunately, I don't see him making those adjustments, and that's problematic because this is not an isolated situation. This has happened a couple of games throughout the season where he's had guys that are hot and he doesn't bring them out again to ride them, or he doesn't keep them in the game to ride them. And that's something that I don't know if he can learn that at this point in his career because he's coached a certain way for so long that who knows if he's going to change his spots. But go ahead, Bill. Go ahead. Take it away, Bill.
I'll just pick up where, like you said, he just coaches a certain way where he's just strictly defensive minded, which is good to be. However, you have to know when your guys don't have it and make the adjustments. And like Santana just said, it's one game. Obi was flowing, man. And he had a bounce, he had a certain rhythm to him. He had the confidence. The bench was cheering him on. Everyone felt that, okay, this is going to be his game. And in that second quarter, I don't know how much he scored. However, he had more points than the minutes that he played. And he was excelling. He did well. That put back dunk, awesome.
Yeah.
The pull up mid range jumper, awesome. Another time he went to the basket, all of that he was doing so well. And then something happened in the play. One of the team called a timeout, and he just took him out. He put Randall back in, and Randall just did not have it. He didn't have it. Right. There was a point in the game where him and Barrett combined for some ridiculous shooting, something like 5 for 30, something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you, as the coach, man, you have to see this. You have to see it for what it is. And even if you tried to put Randall back in to see if he can get it going, once he comes in there and he starts just taking threes and just missing and getting the balls stripped from him and everything, you got to do like you do the younger guys. You got to give him the hook and sit him down and put Obi back in and go, okay, Obi, this is your chance. And he just didn't do that. He went with Rose and Quick entirely too long. He went with those dudes too long. And he even did that with Bullock. Bullock came in a certain period of time and he was going well. Then he took Bullock out for a long period of time. He has to, I don't know if the other coaches are saying anything to him, but he has to develop his offensive mind when it comes to this team.
Say it again.
He has to develop his offensive mindset when it comes to this current team. He has everybody on board, and he's the one. Listen, he has us where we have a high expectation for this team than we did coming into the season because of his implementation of defense. However, like Santana said, we get to see his coaching shortcomings, and it is all of that offensive end and his substitution patterns. So I ain't gonna eat all of it up. So let me throw a pass right next to me to my man H2O, aka 2.0. Go.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bullock had it going on for a minute. They built a 13-point lead
Yeah.
in the second quarter, only to be down by 3 by the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
At the half. And what happened is, I think I saw a couple of miscues 2 or 3 times in a row with that second unit. After they got hot, they kind of cool off, and then he went too quickly. Excuse the pun, but he went too quick to put on the other guy instead of just coaching them to finish that half. If they finish that half, we probably don't lose that 13-point lead. Another thing that I'm noticing is, I think I'm seeing a lot of tired legs on defense. They are supposed to be the best defensive team, or one of the, based on statistics, and they're getting tired on defense. So when you get tired on defense, you got no offense. That's why they're down in the scoring. Because they're chasing people down and they're still not stopping anybody. Those guys started raining threes for a minute there. And you know what it is? Is that it wasn't one guy. There was 4 people in double figures with 15 and 14 and 16. And then, of course, Luka got his average 26. Okay? But for the Knicks, I think, for this game, like you guys are saying, that was a missed opportunity, man. If it's about developing the young players, this was a game for them to develop. And you're right. He only ended up with 9 points in 11 minutes, but I think he had those 9 points in about 8 minutes. It felt like he had them because he was just going. And that was the game, like everybody else is saying, I agree. That was the game to develop him.
Yes.
Forget the score. Forget the win on the low. You were going to have a hard time to beat those guys anyway. So why not go, like Santana says, with a hot hand? It's like let me give you an analogy. In baseball, you can go 0 for 5 one day and 5 for 5 the next. But every day you're not going to go 5 for 5. So when he sees the guy not doing well, especially in basketball, when they're interchangeable and you can substitute them back in. In baseball, they take you out for the rest of the game. But in basketball, you can come back in later. And if you're not working out that day, and the other point that he could have made at that point, he says, hey, I don't care if you're a superstar. You ain't playing hard. You sitting right here next to me. And he missed another opportunity to make that point. Take it away, Santana.
Yeah, that's the key. I think he's built enough credibility that if he sat, any of his, core guys, because they're not performing, he's not going to lose respect. He's not going to lose any respect. If anything, he's going to gain more respect. As a matter of fact, excuse me a second. As a matter of fact, I remember back in the day, and this is one of my favorite coaches in the NBA, is Chuck Daly. Okay, Chuck Daly. He had his starting lineup was practically Hall of Famers. You got Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman. Rick Mahorn is not Hall of Famer, but he's of that ilk. All right. And then his second unit was spearheaded by Vinnie Johnson, Mark Aguirre, you name it. All right. The starting lineup was not producing anything. Anything. What did Chuck Daly do? He pulled the entire starting lineup, put the second unit in the game. Second unit came into the game and they got the lead. He didn't take them out. He kept them in the game. They finished the game. And after that game, you didn't hear a peep out of that starting lineup. Why? Because he won. He won with the backups. and there was never an issue. Next game, he started the regular lineup. He had their respect. There was no issue. Tibbs got to take a page out of his book. He has to. You know, that's one of the adjustments he has to make. And the second adjustment that he has to make is he has to go out there and he's got to open up this offense and call plays, especially when you got guys that are just freelancing out there. That's the time when you call plays because, you know, if not, you're going to get guys that they're going to try to play hero ball. And we can't be having hero ball. The margin of error is too small for us to try to play hero ball. We have to play very structured offense. We got to call plays, you know, because we're playing this control the clock. We're slowing down the pace. So we have to be that much more disciplined in our execution. If we start getting off script and start shooting just nilly-willy, that opens up the floor. The other teams come running. They're more efficient than us. They're going to execute. Now we're starting to get behind the eight ball. So those are adjustments that need to be made. And, you know, it's hard to say whether he's going to be able to make those adjustments right now because he hasn't done that for his entire coaching career. His strength has been on the defensive side of the ball, but not necessarily on the offensive side of the ball. But he needs to bring in an offensive coach that he could lean on to run that offense like they have in football. Football, you got an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, and then you got a head coach. Or when Larry Bird was coaching, he had Rick Carlisle, his offensive coach, okay, and then he had Dick, what's his name? He was the defensive coach. Harder. There you go. Dick Harder. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? So with that said, go ahead, Bill. Take it away.
I'm gonna call a 20-second timeout on this Nick talk to mention to H2O. I blame the Yankee loss on you for putting that in the chat. You put that in the chat, and I answered you, and then all of a sudden they lost that game. So don't ever do that again to my Yankees. All right?
You muted. Henry, you muted yourself.
They won today, though.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't put that in the chat, thank God.
I did not put it in the chat.
Don't put that. We'll do a separate Yankee chat, please. Okay, now back to the Knicks. Basically, you know, I'm just going to regurgitate the same thing that the two of you said when it comes to that game. That game was ours for the taking, and I'm not going to blame the players because they tried to play hero ball because the coaches are supposed to not allow them to try to play hero ball. Move the ball around and get the best shot and be ready on defense. Now they were playing pretty good defense on Luka until he cut loose in that second half. And who was playing pretty good defense on him? It was Bullock. It was Bullock. He played him well. And then there were stretches where they played Porzingis very well as well on defense.
Oh, they did.
Taj was giving him the business defensively. Taj was, you know, a little rough with him. Taj was smacking the ball out of his hand. There was a couple of turnovers that Taj caused Porzingis to have. And overall, Porzingis wasn't the one that killed us. I don't even know how many. We might have had like 14, 16 points, maybe. What do you have, H2O?
He had who?
Porzingis.
Porzingis got 16.
Yeah, 16 points.
Sorry, 14.
14? How many rebounds did he have?
Hold him down to 14, 8 rebounds.
8 rebounds, which is probably 2 over his average.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably. I don't know for sure. But that dude, he's not a great rebounder. So he was held pretty much in check. But the one who came in there and turned us out, Rick Brunson's son.
Brunson.
Holy cow. That kid, I forget his first name, begins with an L.
Jalen.
Huh?
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson. Man, that kid looked good.
Villanova.
That kid looked good, man.
He was ready for the NBA.
Yeah, man. He was giving it to Rose and Quickly. Whoever was on him, he gave it to them.
Yo, that's my boy, but his body is not ready for NBA. He gets
Quickly,
bounced.
quickly.
He gets bounced
Yeah.
out of there
Ooh, quickly.
quickly.
Yeah, man.
He,
He got
next
knocked. You
year,
saw him.
next year,
They,
fucked up.
they had to pick him up a couple of times off the floor. There was a couple of times that the two of the players would have to pick him quickly up off the scraping him up off the floor, I should say.
Listen. That's why I say he's barbecue chicken on defense, bro.
Oh man.
I've been saying that, and of course I mentioned it when he was gonna face Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie cooks everybody, but he's barbecue chicken nonetheless on
Yeah,
defense.
he is. When Quickly's out there, I think the opposing players are like,
It's true. It's true. Yo, it's true, man. It's true. He need a few steaks, bro. He got to go to Clyde's restaurant and eat a few steaks, man. He got to fill up, bro.
and then when they in the back, put a little soul food IV into his arm, put some potatoes in an IV and shoot him up before the games or something.
Yeah.
Because that guy, he has to weigh like what? He must weigh like $150.
Oh,
If that.
185 or something like that.
He don't look like 185, man. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm 160. He's a little bigger than me.
I don't think so. I don't think so, 2.0. I think you're bigger than him.
No, but he's a little taller, so he might be big bone.
I'd give it to you with him on you in the post. I throw you the ball in the post.
You giving the ball? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I give it to you with confidence. With confidence. Now with our big men, Taj was out there fighting. Noel, not as much. Did he have his usual block? Did he get a block or two?
He didn't look like he got too many of those. He got 4 points and 5 rebounds, no assists. I'm not sure. No, Taj is the one that blocked Posinski from behind.
Yeah.
And then he blocked somebody else. Taj was blocking.
Taj was doing his thing for a 78-year-old man. He was doing his thing.
78 years old.
So he was 80. You're making him younger. That's nice. Very, very kind of you.
But you see that we picked up a big man. I think we got this guy that Philly had. I think we was on the Pistons. Pell. You know anything about him?
To play today?
Huh?
I'm wondering
I hope
if
he plays.
Play tonight.
I hope he plays because listen, we're playing against the Pistons, and he needs to also give Obi Knox. He needs. This is a game where you can develop those guys. You could develop those guys. This is one of those games. However, on the other end, we got to contend with who do they have over there? No,
they got Plumlee. They got Plumlee.
They got Plumlee. They got that brother from OKC who gave us the business earlier this year. What's his name?
Diallo.
Diallo. Yeah, they got him.
And Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, and Jeremy Grant.
Sadiq Bey.
Right.
And Sadiq Bey. They got some ballers over there.
And Dennis and Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
Yep. Who gave us the business before?
Dennis Smith Jr. who wants to show something.
Yeah.
Let me see their injury.
All right. Well,
that's the thing. Yeah, playing tonight, man, it's gonna be interesting because since the last time that they played Detroit, now they got a change in roster. So now they gotta adapt to these players, although some of them came from OKC and so forth and so on. So it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully they'll come out, they'll impress their will on Detroit. This is what they really need to do. They can't try to play a close game because right now I think their confidence is a little shook when they're playing these close games. They lost against Minnesota. Then Dallas pulled away from them. You know what I'm saying? And so Detroit, the last time that they played them, I think they blew them out in the second game. But the first game that they played Detroit was a close game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Wasn't that the game? I think Jeremy Grant was giving us the business, right?
Yeah, I think it was game 1 because game 2, I think we blew them away. So this is the rubber match.
Okay.
But
Well,
go ahead 2.0. I mean H2O.
Okay. Yeah. Just to finish up on that, when it comes to stats, we were right there. In terms of field goals, they got us, but in 3 pointers, we made 12. They made 12. In free throws, we got them. In offensive rebound, it was pretty close, 47-43. Assists at 19 and 18. Where they beat us was the points in the paint. They killed us in points in the paint.
Which game are you referring to?
I'm talking about the Dallas Maverick game,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, and that's where we lost the game, man. The points in the paint. For some reason or another, man, they got 50 and we got 30. We never went in. We were too busy trying to,
Shoot threes.
outrun them from 25 feet out. And that's, that was that. And that's the end of, for me, in terms of that game. I want to put it behind me. It kind of like, I have to readjust my expectations so that I don't get so wound up and, shook up when they give up some games like these, because it affects every facet of my life, man. I,
Mm.
I, I can't be happy anymore at night. I got to go back and be
Harry,
like,
Harry,
oh,
Harry,
I'm
Harry walking around kicking the dog.
and slapping him too. So yeah, when it comes to Detroit, this is a bounce back game. All right, they got Jaleel Okafor out there and Rodney Magruder, but both of them are out. So other than that, man, they don't have. I mean, they have a squad like every other team in the NBA, but we have a squad too. And at some point, um, if we see, let's look to see if this time around the coach makes the proper adjustments. Because again, some of these games, we could have been coached into a win instead of coached into a loss. All of those 1 point games, that's a coach's loss. Every 1 point game is a coach's loss. Because if you lose by 10, you've been manhandled, you've been outscored. But if you're in the game, the other coach outcoached you in those last 30 seconds. Take it away, Santana.
No, you're right. I can't disagree with you. Especially those close games. And especially this team. Because our margin of error is very small, very small. So that's when you have to be that much better in timeouts, ATOs, and stuff like that, in making sure that you're controlling the clock and that you're executing plays. Okay. And also, you want to take away, other team strengths, whether that means double team, like what Miami was doing when we played against them. They would, they would blitz our guards whenever they had the ball. Why did they do that? They did that to take the ball out of their hand, and number two, to speed up the game. You got to do a little change of pace. It's like in baseball. You can't throw fastball every single pitch, because everybody's gonna be sitting on that fastball. You got to change it up. You got to throw a changeup, a screwball, a curveball. You got to mix it up. You got to mix speeds of the game so that you keep the other team off balance. But when you're doing the same thing over and over, when they scout you, they already know your plays. They already know how to combat your plays, and that's coaching. Like H2O just said. That's all about coaching. When you're losing those 1 point games, it's about who makes the adjustment, who makes that final adjustment to put their team over the top. And if we're on the losing side of it more times than not, then it's on us. It's on the coach. Go ahead, Bill.
I agree with you 100%, 100%. And that's, well, I don't want to keep picking on picking on the guy, but he coaches. He's too predictable with his coaching, and with this team, you can't be predictable. See, the thing is, the reason that we caught folks off guard was because we were unpredictable for the early part of the season and throughout the season. because it first started with Randall's development, which none of us saw coming. I don't even think the coaches saw that coming, which is why we drafted Obi. However, now that we see that Randall has developed into this type of player, we still want to keep Obi around. So you have to develop him. You have to develop him into the player that Randall is. However, you can't, since they're both play the same position, you can give Obi some small forward run. You can give him some power forward run and move Randall to the 5, depending on who you're playing. Matchups. That's where the unpredictability needs to be incorporated into Tibbs' coaching style. I think we're too predictable, and teams are starting to pick certain times to go at us, to blitz our guards, and to take the ball out of their hands, and to change the speed to their favor, like Santana just said. So, tonight, hopefully, he makes the necessary adjustments and not be so hell-bent on, okay, it's got to be Randall, it's got to be Bullock, it's got to be Barrett, in for the majority of the game. If they're not going, bring one of the young bucks in. Let them get some run. I expect him to give both Knots and Obi some run tonight. And depending on, and I'm not even sure if Rose, I don't know. I don't know if Rose is still a little hurt out there. I don't know if Quickly is still a little banged up, and Barrett. Because then you mentioned Santana, something about Barrett had a little ankle problem.
Yeah. That's what Mark Berman reported in
If
the
that's the
Post
case,
yesterday.
then listen. Give Knox some run. Give Obi some run. Give Frank some run. What happened to Frank? Frank
That's a good
Frank
question.
hasn't seen the day of light since Rose came back and then even went out. He hasn't played Frank. And when he did play Frank was decent out there. Frank wasn't causing us any losses. It wasn't because of Frank that we lost these past 3 games. So you gotta be a little more flexible with your coaching. And I keep saying that I'm not going to beat him up, but it always comes back to Tibbs.
It is what it is.
Tonight's game, with tonight's game, he's going to have to make certain adjustments, because although Detroit is well under us in the standings, like H2O just pointed out, they got some ballers over there. They got some dudes who can ball over there. So therefore, I can't expect this to be an easy game for us. And where we at? Where we playing? It's in Detroit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Detroit.
It's in Detroit. So we in their house. They're going to try to, save face and show up for their fans. And we're going to have to bring it. We're going to have to bring our A game. Let's put it that way. We can't go in there with a half-hearted effort and expect, we're the Knicks who are going to be in the playoffs. So this is a game we're going to get. No, you got to put your big boy shorts on, pull up your bridges, bring that A game, bring that defense, move the ball around, make the necessary adjustments, make the appropriate substitutions. Don't overplay certain players and don't underplay certain players, and we can get this W. With that said, let me slide it over the top to you, H2O.
Okay, thanks. You listen, I mentioned a whole lot of names, all of which, raise an eyebrow when you hear. So just to clarify that, they just put up 120 last night. Okay, I know that it was against the Washington Wizards, but it was Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, Josh Jackson, 31.
Woo!
Okay?
Woo!
Joseph, he's still out there. It's other kid, Frank Jackson, and Wayne Ellington. And again, they're still thinking that other guy is supposed to be showing up today. What's the other young guard that they have? Uh,
Killian,
yes,
Killian Hayes.
yes, he wasn't even playing in this game. He's
Okay.
expected to play tonight. So, like you said, Bill Stradamus, it's got to be about bringing your A game, your A defensive game. And one thing that he needs to stop is that dribble handoff. I give it to you, you give it to me, you give it to you, you give it to me, and then the ball stops.
Right.
All right. So you give it to the side to Barrett. Barrett gives it to Randall. Randall gives it back to Barrett, and then the ball stops. What is the play there?
They don't. Like Santana said, they don't run plays. And then you get that moment in the game where either Randall, Barrett, or Quickly, they may get the rebound or get the ball in the backcourt. They go up, and no one else sees the ball. They're just taking a shot.
Taking a shot.
And I don't get that. I don't understand why Tibbs let them do that. Maybe I keep bringing it back to Tibbs.
That in the beginning, and it worked.
Yeah.
For a couple of games.
Yeah. And then Tibbs even I've heard him say that the offense, it's like you have to feel it. Oh, so I let them just feel it out and let them go. I've heard him say that in press conferences. And it's like that's seemingly good when you're running triangle. That's the basis of the triangle.
That's the principle.
The principle of the triangle is to feel it out. But not if you're not running the triangle, you just can't have they get the rebound, they give it to one person, and one person just takes it up and determines in their head how the offense is going to go when no one else is on the same page with them. You can't let them feel the game out in that way. You have to run plays. So I can see you saying that, okay, if you're in a triangle or motion type offense, which we don't seem to be running any of that anymore. We don't seem to run any of that type of stuff anymore. It seems to be we get the rebound, put it in either Julius's hands or one of the guards' hands. They bring it up, and then whatever happens, happens. One of those type of things. And that cannot be our offense. We don't have our players aren't skilled and good enough for us to be able to do that. We don't have LeBron James or Kawhi or Paul George. We don't have those type of players who can come up and just get you a basket or seemingly know where everyone is supposed to be, and we just don't have that type of players. Like I can see if we had somebody like Luka, that's a bad boy. That's a bad man there, Luka, because he's not a great outside shooter. However, he seemingly hits outside shots at the appropriate times and moments, and he makes the necessary passes and or plays to his other teammates. He knows how to keep them involved, and he knows when to change speeds of the game. And he's very hard. He's hard to guard. So, and he's a thinking player. You can watch him, and you can almost watch him thinking out there. We don't have those type of players. We have skilled players where if they get the ball in certain spots and areas, they can do work. But our best player in that regard would probably be Burks, where Burks can get the ball. He can dance sometimes, and he knows he's a seemingly smarter player than the rest of them. And he's been consistent. He's now strung some nice offensive games together. However, everyone else has it. It seems like Randall, I want to say even from the All-Star game, he doesn't seem like he's quite the same. Or not from the All-Star game, from the time he got that injury. It doesn't seem to be quite the same. Barrett and Bullock offensively, they're inconsistent. Barrett has been a little more consistent, but when he goes to the hole, like he's supposed to. But then he has those games where he just comes out and he's just shooting, a la last game, and he was off. So we need to pull everybody in, bring a more cohesive offensive effort, and still be able to maintain that defensive aggressiveness that I always say. If your defense assists your offense, whether they realize it or not. When your defense is tight and locked in and running them off the 3-point line and doing those things, it makes your offense flow a little better. It just does, because you're creating turnovers and guys are up the floor a little quicker, and guys like Burke seemingly realize that and know, and Rose too. Rose knows when to get guys the ball in certain situations, and that's what we have to hang our hat on. And again, A+ effort in order to get this game tonight. And that's all I got. Let me swing it up top. Let me throw a quick lob to my man Santana. No, I'm sorry.
2.0. H2O. H2O.
Yes. Okay, I'm just trying to look around to see whether or not Noel Pell is going to be playing tonight. I would like to see what he brings to the table. I know that I've seen highlights of him, some in Philadelphia and some in he didn't go to college,
No?
No, he didn't go to college. He went directly to play in the what is it in
the G League
in Israel, I think he was.
Oh, okay.
And in Europe for a while before he came back and played for Philly, or I'm not sure what the sequence was.
Where's he from?
Where's
he from? Is he from the States or is he from
somewhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's the guard name that we had? Brandon. Remember Brandon did that? He didn't go to college. He went. He did one of those. Okay.
So where is it? Noel Pell. He was okay. He is from St. John's, Antigua, Barbuda. 6'10", 231. He went to Lakewood High School, and he just went from high school. He went on to play in the Lebanese Professional Basketball League. Okay. And then he came back, played for Philly, and now he's got a 10-day contract with the Knicks. They're saying, welcome to the Mecca, New York forever. And the status is that Noel Pell available to make Knicks debut Saturday.
I want to see him. I want to see him.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean,
looking forward. So that's it. As far as I'm concerned, I just pray that your words have somehow reached our coach, and that he sees for himself. Because we always talk about this. We see things that is not impossible for them to see as professional coaches, and with way more experience and maybe way more knowledge than me. I don't know about you guys, but he got way more. That it just seems so logical for me that I don't see why he's not doing it. And like water, you got to go with the shape of the cube that day. And if he ain't water, if he's gonna go in there trying to put a square peg into a round hole, he's gonna get in trouble, and that's gonna be his downfall. And we're gonna end up with another coach in 2 years.
Be water, my friend.
Be water. Listen,
I'm gonna jump off now, but I'm gonna give my heartfelt prediction for tonight's game. Okay, this is not the logical one. This is the heartfelt. Okay. It's going to be the mix doing the 110-102.
Okay.
Okay, then let me get my heartfelt as well.
Okay.
Heartfelt, you said 110, 102?
Yes.
Since them guys do all that scoring, I'll pick a higher score. I'll say 116, 110, New York, heartfelt.
Okay.
Okay, Santana.
Okay,
I'll put
I'm
you on
gonna.
the spot.
That's okay. I'm gonna go somewhere in between there. So I'm gonna go 110, 105. Knicks.
Okay.
Okay. So we all pulling for the home crew. Okay.
Yeah. No, listen. They got to close this out. This got to be the final game. They've won 2 already, and they want to win the third one against Detroit.
Right.
Oh, they split?
It was
Did
one.
they split?
Remember the game over there where this guy went off on us.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. This is the rubber match. You're right. You're right.
He,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're right.
the
You're
center.
right. You're right. Drummond.
Drummond went off on us.
Oh no. But Drummond was Drummond.
No,
in
that was
Cleveland?
Cavaliers. That was the
Yeah.
Cavaliers.
That was a Cavaliers.
Sorry.
No,
So-
but you're right. You're right. They did win the last one. So this is the rubber match, and Killian Hayes is gonna play
Right.
because I just saw him warming up.
It was Killian Hayes who was giving us a problem. Him and Grant, I believe, in one of those games.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Grant definitely has been giving it to us. I mean, he's been playing great basketball. But the thing is, Casey, I think, got the kind of players that he likes, which are guys that are athletic, that play D, that are young, and he doesn't like those plotting players. That's why Blake Griffin is no longer there. That's why Drummond is no longer there. And he got Plumlee because Plumlee, he can run. He can run up and down the court. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight, man. Hopefully they'll come out and they'll, tighten up. And in terms of adjustments, one of the things that you said, Bill, sometimes you got to throw a little wrinkle in there, a little surprise. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Larry Brown, one of my other favorite coaches, when he coached the Detroit Pistons into the championship against the Lakers and won, okay, one of his signature calls was calling a backdoor dunk to Ben Wallace. Nobody expected that. Nobody expected that play. And sure enough, he got the ball because it was off of, a timeout. He called the play. And usually when you call a play, you call it to your best player, your best offensive player. Chauncey Billups would have the ball, or Rasheed Wallace would be the one to shoot, someone like that. No one expected that the play was going to Ben Wallace. And Ben Wallace ended up with a dunk. That's coaching. That's coaching. So,
well, let's see.
With that said, fellas, we're gonna call it. So
Yes.
get ready to the game. And as we always do when we close out another episode, we say, once a Knick, always a Knick. All right, fellas, we'll pick it up in the chat.
Yes,
Peace.
sir.
All right.
All right, later.
Later.